we must know what is the historical socio-cultural background of the age of Chaucer. Well, prior to that, you must know the timeline. When did the age of Chaucer start? In English literature, for that matter, for all practical purposes, age of Chaucer started from 1340 to 1400. So this timeline of 60 years, the time period or the duration of 60 years is subscribed to or is ascribed to the age of Chaucer. During this age, a few poets were there: Geoffrey Chaucer, William Langland, John Gower, etc. So in this perspective, we must analyze what was the historical, social, and political background of the period. Historically, the period was under the control of feudalism. There were feudal lords, and those lords or the kings, they distributed land to the nobles, to the dukes, and they were called vassals. And after these vassals, there were serfs. These serfs are the poor class people, the laborer class people. They don't have economic prosperity. They don't have that much of affluence. They used to live in hand-to-mouth condition. So, who was the king at that time? Edward III. During the rule of Edward III, age of Chaucer occurred. And the subjects were divided into two types of categories, or two groups, or two types, or two categories. One is the nobles, the other is the serfs. The nobles are covered by the dukes, the richer section of people, and the serfs belong to the economically poorer class of people. They don't have that economic prosperity. They don't have that affluence. Whatever they earn from physical labor, industrial labor. And the condition of women was also not very well off. The women didn't exercise that sort of independence. They never commanded any kind of respect, recognition in the family. The family used to be more or less patriarchal family. In other words, patriarchal hegemony was continuing in those times. The father is supposed to be the head of the family. After the rule of Edward III, Richard II also ruled over England. So during the rule of these two kings, Edward III and Richard II, there was no improvement in the socio-political condition. Political condition was monarchy was prevalent, kingship was prevalent, and social condition was that there was social discrimination between the haves and have-nots, the bourgeois and the proletariat, the rich and the poor, the vassals and the serfs. So as a result, the serfs remained in a suppressed condition. As they were not economically affluent, they used to totally depend on the mercy of either the king or the dukes, the nobles. Sometimes they are also subject to exploitation. They were never allowed to live with dignity. Nobody cared for their emotion. Nobody cared for their values, excepting their labor. They are the people who did all kinds of manual labor, household chores, industrial works, in whatever capacity they were required, they used to extend their help and they never mind it. At this juncture, a few happenings occurred, few incidents occurred, which shook the socio-political fabric of England and paved the way for certain changes. As things continued like this, at that time, the 100 Years' War began. The 100 Years' War began between England and France. England tried to show its suzerainty, its authority over a patch of land that belonged to France. And France was not prepared to leave it. For that reason, the war occurred, which is known as the 100 Years' War, 100 years of war. And this 100 years of war devastated the economy, the social condition of the people in Britain. There was not only emotional disturbance, there was disturbance in different fronts. People were shaken. They never expected that they will be subjected to such type of condition, which is a very deplorable, precarious condition. The economy was also shattered. The prices shot up. The prices of essential commodities began to increase. That caused a problem for the working class people, for the shops. And they had no alternative but to take it in their strides. So the 100 Years' War impacted the socio-political condition, the cultural condition of England in a big way, in a remarkable way. Nobody had expected that the 100 Years' War will be so devastating, will be so precarious, will be so harmful. Then another thing is, there was Black Death. A bubonic plague began to occur. Bubonic plague, like that of your COVID-19. And it brought about huge number of people suffering and dying. Huge number of deaths occurred due to the outbreak of the bubonic plague, which is called Black Death. So first factor is 100 years of war. Second is Black Death. And Black Death caused huge number of deaths, large number of deaths. Then occurred the Peasants' Revolt. the peasants' revolt, the farmers, the working class, the serfs, they rose in revolt against the king, against the administration. They had never expected that the prices will rise so sky high. If the prices are rising so sky high, they were not able to manage. They were not able to, sustain their agricultural front. Agriculture is not a small matter. For doing agriculture or for relying on agriculture as a permanent source of income, one has to plow the land in proper time. There has to be either rain or some kind of irrigation facilities. There has to be the improved equipment. There has to be the manpower. There has to be a conducive environment in the market. Whatever they produce, the poor farmers, whatever they produce, they must be in a position to sell it out with reasonably high price so that they can gather profit, they can acquire profit. But it was not done. 100 Years' War and Black Death had shattered everything, had caused big havoc, had made the life, totally disrupted. Living style, life, economy, social condition was totally disrupted, devastated. As a result, the peasants, finding no other way, they wanted relief. They were also paying taxes. They wanted that the tax should be waived and they should be provided with seeds, manure, fertilizer, equipment, and other accessories required for agriculture, for cultivating their land. When the peasants rose in revolt, obviously there was scarcity of food. There was scarcity of food. And, things were totally out of control. So under this condition, Geoffrey Chaucer realized literature should take over. Ladies and gentlemen, I have told you umpteen times, literature reflects reality. Literature focuses on the problems facing the society, various kinds of problems, maybe economic problems, maybe emotional problems, maybe political problems, maybe social issues, incidents like murder, arson, loot, agitation, dowry torture, domestic violence, exploitation of women, disrespect for women, child labor, and all those things. So as I told you and I have already discussed with you, literature is the mirror. Mirror of what? Mirror of the society. Literature is the mirror of the contemporary society. And literature depends on three factors. The production of literature depends on three factors, remember. There was a renowned French critic named Hippolyte Taine. Hippolyte, Hippolyte space Taine, Taine, name of the critic. The French critic Hippolyte Taine said that the production of literature is possible due to three factors. First is race, RACE. Second is milieu, MILIEU. Third is moment, MOMENT. So race, milieu, and moment, three factors are responsible to bring about brilliant literature, wonderful literature. Literature that caters to the needs of the people, the needs of the intellectuals, the needs of the common people, the needs of the people having aesthetic sensibility, the needs of the critics, the needs of the readers, the needs of the discerning people, you know, the educated people who have kept their eyes and ears open and they come to know about the various problems that are afflicting the contemporary society. So what is the race? Race is the writer or the man. The man who writes, he belongs to race. So race refers to the writer or the man who writes. Right? What is the milieu? Milieu is the atmosphere, the circumstance, the environment, the socio-political, cultural environment around the writer. And from that source, the writer draws inspiration. The writer draws experience. The writer gathers his passions, feelings, thoughts. The writer harps on his emotion. So milieu is the surrounding, the environment, the atmosphere, the area or the place or the country where the writer is living. Because the place where he is living, that matters him the most. And he gathers his experience from those sources. Then comes the moment. What is the moment? Moment is the creative moment. You must understand what is creative moment. Who can say what is creative moment? Come on. Who can say what is the creative moment? Any volunteer?
So for an artist, isn't every moment a creative moment? If he sees even a drop falling from the sky, that's also like a creative moment for him.
Okay, when heart is filled with,
So I mean to say, for a creator, for a creative person, almost every moment is a creative moment because they see
no,
things very
no, no,
different.
no, no.
Oh,
You are mistaken. Asnath, you are
sorry.
mistaken. Every
Okay.
moment cannot be a creative moment.
Okay.
I'll give you an example. A writer may be trying for days together, but the ideas and thoughts and emotions, passions are not coming to him. But a particular moment comes when the goddess Muse, or in our Indian context, goddess Saraswati, impregnates the writer with ideas, feelings, thoughts. He is in a position to write. And
Okay.
at that
Okay.
time, all his five senses used to respond harmoniously: touch,
Right.
taste, smell, hearing, and sight.
Right.
So, creative moment is called the epiphanic moment. Creative moment is called the transcendental moment. The moment which brings about creativity in him. The moment which brings about the ability to write something. It's not that he can always write. No. Days together will pass off. he will not be in a position to write. But there will be time when he will have tremendous inspiration, plethora of inspiration, and he will be in a position to write. So res, milieu, and moment. Res is the man or the writer. Milieu is the place where he is living in, and moment is the time in which the writer is making an attempt to write, and he gets the inspiration of the muse, goddess muse. Goddess muse is supposed to be the goddess of creativity. She will impregnate the writer with ideas, and the writer will go ahead in writing. And he writes very successfully after getting the inspiration of the muse. So, coming back to our discussion, the age of Chaucer, I have given you the background against which the age of Chaucer appeared, or the age of Chaucer happened for all of us. Background is three major factors took place. Two rulers had ruled during that period. First is Edward III, second is Richard II. During their period, there was classification in society. Society was divided into the nobles and serfs, the vassals and serfs. The vassals or nobles, they got land from the king, a kind of fief. It is called fief also, F-I-E-F. They received fiefs, jagir, what we call jagir. So jagir tradition was there, jagir pratha was there. So they got the land. When they got the land from the king, obviously they showed their allegiance to the king. They were very close to the king. Whatever the king did, they endorsed everything. The king may do wrong things, they accept it. The king may exploit others, they accept it. The king may indulge in any kind of wrong decision, they accept it. In other words, they became a second fiddle to the king. Whatever king said, they blindly endorsed, accepted, approved it. They never thought about the miserable predicament of the serfs or the working class or the laborer class. So who are at the receiving end of suffering, receiving end of poverty, malnutrition, starvation? They are the poor serfs. And it so happened that the serfs found that our simplicity is being exploited. We are thoroughly exploited by the bourgeois or the noble class. No one pays any heed to our problem. The king is indifferent, and the king totally depends on the noble class, the dukes, the bourgeois, to whom he has given land or fief. So after getting the fief, this noble class becomes totally subservient to the king and accepts the kind of, feudalistic attitude. So feudalism was found in its topmost form, in its most aggressive form in England during the 14th century from 1340 to 1400. Then I told you 100 Years' War impacted severely. The war broke out between England and France. which continued for nearly 100 years. This 100 years war was responsible to shatter the economy, to destroy the economy, to devastate the economy and social life in England. Then came the bubonic plague. The plague occurred, so many deaths occurred, people died like flies and insects. No medical treatment could save their lives. It was a pandemic, and the pandemic also cast a very dark pall of gloom. A thick pall of gloom was cast by the pandemic on the socio-cultural scenario in England. Then is the peasants' revolt. The peasants rose in revolt because they found that we are the providers of food. We are the annadata. We are giving anna, food. But nobody cares for us. The king is very indifferent. King doesn't care about us. And now the prices are very high. Seeds are not available. Fertilizer is not available. Irrigation is not proper. So how do we grow corns? How do we cultivate our land? How do we grow food? And if food cannot be grown, England will be totally destroyed. So growing food becomes imperative. And for growing food or sustaining the front of agriculture, sustaining the agriculture front, they need certain fundamental things such as seeds, fertilizer, irrigation, equipment, etc. So to get those things at a lesser price, at a subsidized price, they rose in revolt. And the revolt of the peasants caused a great problem for the king. So these three factors, 100 years of war, Black Death, peasants' revolt, are very much responsible to bring about a kind of deterioration in the socio-cultural political condition of England during the 14th century from 1340 to 1400. Sorry. Then what happened? Chaucer, Langland, Gower, these poets appeared on the literary firmament of England, on the creative landscape of England. As the creative writers or poets, Chaucer noticed that this is the condition. And another condition I told you, the condition of women was not very satisfactory. It was not up to the mark. The women did not command any respect in the society. There was exploitation of women. Feudalistic system was continuing in England. Feudalism was continuing in England, and patriarchy was continuing in England. So in the 14th century, what happened? Two things ran side by side. One is feudalism on the one side and patriarchy on the other side. What is the bad effect of feudalism? Who can say? What is the negative impact of feudalism?
Sir, I'll try. It is the rift between the rich and the poor, the rich being the feudal lords and the poor being the peasants who were not getting enough benefits.
Brilliant. Wonderful. Thank you very much. Thank
Thank you,
you
sir.
very much. And what is patriarchy?
So patriarchy is the system of society where the men lead uh, all the social front, and women are given sort of a
Absolutely.
subservient.
Rajveer, absolutely right. Male dominated society. In the society, male dominance is noticed. Whatever the male member of the family says, that is final. And the women do not have any sway. The women are considered as second grade citizens. They are treated as doormats. Their views are not taken into consideration. Even in our society, you might have noticed there are certain families where the head of the family or the father used to neglect the mother, underestimate the mother, and if the mother attempts to speak anything regarding the career of the child immediately hits back and he or she says, "Ki, Mommy, you please keep your mouth shut. You do not know anything." Have you noticed it? So such type of thing emerges because the head of the family or the father doesn't pay respect to the mother. And the child has noticed how father is very arbitrary, how father is very dominating, how father doesn't care for the emotion and sentiments of the mother, for which the children dare shut down the mother. They say, Mom, you keep your mouth shut, you don't know anything. Don't interfere in my career making decisions or in the decisions leading to forming my career or building my career. I will take the decision or Papa will advise me. You don't break your head about it because you know nothing. Look at the attitude. The mother, who is not only the caretaker, the person who has given birth by keeping the fetus for 10 months, giving so much of love, nourishing, nurturing, looking into every emotion of the child. The same child, when grows up, insults his mother. This is obnoxious. This is something very dangerous a trend. It happens in our societies. So in Britain also, in those times, such type of scenario was prevalent. There was predominance of the male members. Patriarchy was ruling the roost, and the children mostly were affected by it. Since patriarchy prevailed, the women were neglected, women were overshadowed, their talent was not allowed to grow, they were not allowed to participate in any kind of decision making process of the family, not even in the decision relating to the career of the child, the future of the child, the education of the child, the type of school or college the child should get admission. So that was the scenario. So Chaucer took up all these things in his writing. and he has written many books. He has produced wonderful literary works. The number one is Canterbury Tales. Next is House of Fame. Next is The Book of the Duchess. Next is The Legend of Good Women. Next is Troilus and Cressida. So such type of works were produced by Geoffrey Chaucer. And what did he reflect in his works? He reflected, as I told you, the writer always gathers inspiration, gathers the material from the contemporary milieu, the contemporary condition of the society, the contemporary socio-political, cultural scenario of the society. That's why in the prologue you find, prologue to Canterbury Tales, general prologue, where you find 29 pilgrims from diverse background. They are coming to Tabard Inn. The name of the inn is Tabard Inn. And they have assembled there. They have taken rest there. And next morning, they will proceed to the shrine of St. Thomas Becket at Canterbury. There is a shrine at Canterbury named the Shrine of St. Thomas Becket. When these 29 pilgrims have gathered there, the host of the inn is Harry Bailey. Harry Bailey is the host of the inn. So he gives a proposal. Since you are going on a pilgrimage to the Canterbury to have a glimpse of the shrine of St. Thomas Becket, it would be better if each one of you narrate 2 stories. One while going up and the other while coming down. On your to and fro journey, while proceeding towards Canterbury, you will tell one story, or each one of you will tell one story. And while returning back, each one of you will narrate another story. So, there will be all total 60 stories. Because 29 and Chaucer is there, 30. 30 pilgrims. So 30 into 2, totally 60 stories will be there, 60 tales will be there. But actually it could not be completed. It was confined to only 28, 29. And Harry Bailey said, I will judge all the stories, and the best story ever narrated by anyone shall be awarded by me a wonderful, delectable, palatable, tasty dinner. I will entertain that man who has told the brilliant story, the best story. I will entertain him with a sumptuous dinner, delectable, palatable, tasteful, sumptuous dinner. So that was mutually agreed upon. And before that, he wrote the prologue, the general prologue. In the general prologue, what did he write? In the general prologue, he laid bare the facts. about the idiosyncratic features, the peculiar features, the strange features, the strange qualities of the pilgrims. Because among the pilgrims, knight was there, squire was there, non was there, miller was there, clerk was there, wife of Bath was there, monk was there. So many people were there. And these pilgrims, they come from diverse backgrounds. They don't belong to one background. Since they belong to diverse backgrounds, their qualities are diverse, obvious. There is no uniformity in their character. So while writing this poem, General Prologue to the Canterbury Tales, Chaucer made use of a few literary devices. There was irony, there was satire, there was personification, there was symbolism. That is the reason why Prologue to Canterbury Tales belonging to the medieval age in the 14th century is being taught over the years till now. Till now, in every PG syllabus, Prologue to Canterbury Tales of Chaucer is there. Why it is there? Because Chaucer is the father of English literature. Because English literature, for all practical purposes, began with the age of Chaucer, 14th century. What was the condition of English literature prior to 14th century? We are not bothered. We don't have any clue. Bearing aside a long epic poem, anonymously written, Beowulf. The name of the poem is Beowulf. 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 And there was one poet, Caedmon. Caedmon. So except Caedmon the poet and Beowulf the epic poem, we do not have any record as to what was the condition of English literature, what was the literary production during the 14th century or the age of Chaucer. So, Prologue to Canterbury Tales belongs to the medieval age, for which it has highlighted the symptoms of medievalism. And in a very humorous vein, Chaucer has attempted to delineate each character. Maybe the nun, maybe the monk, maybe the friar, maybe the clerk, maybe the miller, maybe the knight, maybe the squire, maybe wife of Bath. So many divergent characters are there. And the peculiar features, the strange features, the idiosyncratic features of these characters are focused in the prologue, in the general prologue to Canterbury Tales. When they have arrived at Tabardine, Chaucer has made an attempt to make sure that the readers get a glimpse of the characteristic features of these characters, these pilgrims. That the pilgrims which are going to Canterbury to visit the shrine of St. Thomas Becket. Those pilgrims, they are spending the night at Tabard Inn, where their host is Harry Belly, and Harry Belly is looking after them properly, and he has given the suggestion that while going to St. Thomas Becket's shrine, each pilgrim shall narrate a tale or story while going, and on return journey also he will narrate one more story. Everyone agreed, and he promised he who is adjudged as the best storyteller shall be awarded by me, or shall be rewarded by me with a sumptuous dinner. And all of them agreed. Before that, Chaucer made an attempt by using irony, humor, symbolism, personification. He wanted to analyze the various characters that are included in the pilgrimage. The characters don't belong to one profession, because a knight is obviously engaged in what? Warfare. So knight is supposed to symbolize what? Chivalry, knight errantry, valor, courage, dauntlessness, heroism, strength, vivacity, resilience, dynamism, resourcefulness, enterprising ability, leadership quality. And the knight is true to his profession. The knight is a very wonderful character. Chaucer has never talked anything ill of him. Chaucer has rather appreciated. He is true to his job. He is very sincere, very honest in his profession. And whatever is expected of him, he does it wonderfully well. So, knight has no problem. And Chaucer has never left any stone unturned, not only to talk about their characteristic features, not only to focus on their character, on their angularities, on their likes and dislikes, on their choices and predilections. Along with that, he also makes sure to comment on their dresses. What kind of dress he has worn, how does he walk, how does he talk, how does he keep social contact, what is his attitude to life, what is his impression on others, what kind of prestige does he command in the society, what is his recognition in the society, whether people recognize him or not, whether people acknowledge his talent or not. All those things are taken into consideration. So Chaucer made every nitty-gritty details of these characters. Their walk, their talk, their dress, their sense of humor, their IQ, intelligence quotient, their wit, their sense of humor, their power of understanding, their talent, their critical ability, their analytical skill, their attitude to love, their emotion, their feeling, their intellectual depth, all those things are highlighted in the general prologue. All those things relating to the characteristic features of the pilgrims, the peculiarities of the pilgrims, the idiosyncrasies of the pilgrims. How do they behave? How do they talk? How do they deal with others? What is their general approach to life? Whether they have patience or not, whether they are irascible, means they are easily excited, whether they are subject to persuasion, bias, prejudice, or they have the power to take the independent decision. All those things are dealt with in detail in the general prologue. So the characters I told you. Who are the characters? The knight, the square. The square happens to be the son of the knight. The miller, the pardoner, the summoner, the clergyman, the clerk, the miller, wife of Bath, the nun, all these characters. Because it is obvious, they don't belong to one profession. Their professions are different. Not only are their professions different, their individual characteristics are also different. Their personal nature, personal approach, personal choice, personal predilection are also different. So they have to be dealt with differently. How are they dealt with? They are dealt with by Chaucer in a brilliant, fascinating, wonderful manner. And I feel that any other poet without Geoffrey Chaucer would not have been able to make such a wonderful character portrayal of these pilgrims. The way he has portrayed the characters, that is remarkable, that is commendable, that is laudable, for which Prologue to Canterbury Tales, which occurred in the 14th century or which was written in the 14th century, has been read, prescribed in the syllabus of PG English, MA English, since so many years, till now in the last leg or in the, say, middle part of 21st century, it is being taught. Even today it is being taught. For all time to come it will be taught, because it has tremendous relevance to English literature. If literature is the mirror of society, General Prologue to Canterbury Tales is a wonderful, brilliant example of being a mirror to the society. So, this is how Chaucer began to write his General Prologue. And as a poet, I told you, he was very conscious of the social background, the political condition, the cultural ambience, the intellectual worth, the economic situation, especially after the 100 years of war, after the Black Death, and after the Peasants' Revolt. Taking that into consideration, and of course, the feudal system, the patriarchy system, prevalent at the social level, all those things taken into consideration, general prologue to Canterbury Tales was outlined, was written to the utmost satisfaction of the readers. Now, I would like to invite your response, कि whether you have understood or not. I would like
Yes, sir.
I would like you to tell me what was the socio-political, cultural, economic condition of the age of Chaucer from 1340 to 1400. Whatever we have discussed so far, I would like to know whether you have understood, remembered or not. Please.
Feudalism.
Yes, come on.
Feudalism was reigning. Feudalism was reigning.
Yes?
Feudalism was reigning.
Sir, I'll give it a try.
No, no, not like
So
that. You just, make it a sentence and completely make the description. Padma,
the
you
age
make the
had
description.
seen. Okay, I'll write it down then.
Okay.
Yeah, mainly in the during the age of Chaucer, there are three things happen. First is the Hundred Years' War, second is the Black Death, and the third one is the Persons' War. And the feudalism was reigning during the time. Women were not given proper attention, or their matters were not taken care of. And Chaucer came under Chaucer gone through under three kings during his time. These are the main things.
Okay. Carry on. Yes. Yes, come on.
I would like to try
Hmm?
the notes that I made from your lecture. I'll just quickly, briefly tell. So the brief overview for the age of Chaucer. The period is between 1340 to 1400. He also known as the father of English poetry, and his masterpiece is the Canterbury Tales. Reflects the complexities of 14th century English society. So the background, historical and social context is number one, the feudalism, a rigid class structure where the king grant land to nobles who had control over peasants. Society was hierarchical and land based. The Black Death, mm, a deadly plague that killed nearly one third of Europe's population, leading to labor shortages and weakening the feudal system. And the peasant revolt, a major uprising led by peasants demanding the better working conditions and less taxation. They showed the rising voice of lower classes, church corruption, and also all that rise of middle class. Um, so yeah, that's about it. And also the social, uh, psychological influences, philosophical, race, milieu, and the moment that you told. So yeah, that's about it briefly.
Okay. Anybody else? What other factors were there? What are the condition of women?
Male-dominated society.
Condition of women in a 14th century is so much vast situation, and she had no any right to take any decision,
Hmm.
especially related to the child area or any important decision which is necessary to the home. And he is just neglected figure in that time, in the 14th century, and he has no any right to say something, or he has no any emails, especially in a home area and in a society also.
Hmm.
And that is the starting by the character of wife of Bath through the Chaucer. So he, as a writer, he wanted to try the iconic figure as a feminist by the wife of Bath. And Chaucer also showing that how much economically, emotionally characters are showing shown their characters. So through the
Okay.
Chaucer also uses so much literary terms like irony, humor, symbolism. So through this, Chaucer also try to showing it. That's
Very good.
also
Very good. Wonderful. What's your name?
Maya, sir.
Maya.
Maya.
But you have written here cool nerve.
Yes, sir.
What is this?
Cool, cool partner. sir.
Brilliant, brilliant.
Thank you,
So
sir.
your name is Maya, but I thought your name is Cool Partner. Okay. Very good analysis. Okay. So this is what we have so far studied, how the age of Chaucer constitute a very significant period in the entire golden annals of English literature, history of English literature. When you start studying the history of English literature, you start with whom? With Chaucer. Because prior to Chaucer, we don't have any information. As I told you, we had only one epic, that is Beowulf. About the writer's name, we don't know because it is anonymous. And secondly, there was, Cadman. Cadman. Cadman was the poet, and about he was doing some, some anonymous works are also there. So apart from that, we don't have any relevant information. Since we are very much interested about English literature, and the real systematic scientific study of literature is possible from the age of Chaucer. As you know, 14th century belongs to Chaucer, Langland, Gower, John Gower. And Chaucer, I have discussed with you how many books he has written, all brilliant books, although written in medieval English. Still, they are very interesting to read, like House of Fame, Legend of Good Women, Troilus and Cressida, Canterbury Tales, all those things. William Langland has written Piers the Plowman. Then after the age of Chaucer came the 15th century, and unfortunately nothing was produced during the 15th century. As the students of English literature, I would expect all of you to have a command over the chronological development of the age. By what serial, by what sequence the age moves, and what is the speciality of one particular age. For example, the age of Chaucer. He is called the father of English literature. He is also called the father of English poetry. It means poetry prospered, poetry flourished during the age of Chaucer. But unfortunately, it so happened that during the 15th century, nothing worth the mention was produced. Why nothing was produced? Because it was a dark age. It was a gloomy age. It was a barren age. It was an effete age. It was an unproductive age. It was a sterile age. It was an age which was not conducive for the production of literature. So the entire age, like 100 years or so, went west. It was a complete waste. Nothing was produced. That is why this age is called the Dark Age or the Sterile Age. Then after the end of 15th century, actually a brilliant time, a wonderful time for literature appeared in England. Because at that time, like during Chaucer's time, Edward III was ruling over England. Then after Edward III, Richard II ruled over England. But during the Elizabethan period or 16th century, Queen Elizabeth I was ruling over England. And she was a person who had a finer sense of appreciation of literature. She used to appreciate literature. She used to study literature. She used to enjoy literature. And during her time, science made progress. Printing press was invented. In the industrial front, in the commercial front, on the materialistic front, on the economic front, England was well off. England has consolidated its strength in the sphere of economy, in the sphere of industry, in the sphere of scientific experiment as well. The scientists were promoted, patronized by the Queen's court. The Queen provided all kinds of help and assistance to the scientists, to the researchers, to the poets and writers. She also patronized literature. There was political stability. The Queen was firm in the saddle. There was no rival for her. There was nobody to fight against her. So she was firmly seated on the throne. And her main focus was to bring about the progress and prosperity of the country. How the progress and prosperity of the country shall be brought about? She began to provide all kinds of privileges to the serfs, to the working class people. And she wanted to remove the gulf of difference between the nobles and the serfs, the bourgeois and the proletariat, the haves and the have-nots, the privileged and the unprivileged. As a result, people lived happily. They didn't have any wants at all. And they were going gaga in the fulsome praise of the Queen. Long live the Queen. They said, long live the Queen. And at this time, at this juncture, the works of Greek and Latin literature. Say, for example, the works of Homer, Catullus, Horace, Sophocles, Aristophanes, Virgil, Ovid, their works are the Greek and Roman literary works. Greek literature and Latin literature or Roman literature, they were somehow or other brought to England. They were not only brought to England, the British readers were very much empowered, enamored of Greek and Latin literature. They began to study, enjoy, appreciate, express their satisfaction. Because in those times, Latin was being taught in England. You must be knowing, when Shakespeare was studying in grammar school in London, grammar school in those times was teaching two subjects. One is Latin, the other is mathematics. Somehow or other, Shakespeare did well in Latin, but in mathematics he did poorly, for which left his studies. He left his studies. He became a school dropout, came back to his village. The name of his village is, do you remember? Can anybody tell me the name of Shakespeare's village? Maya?
Avon, sir. Avon.
No, that is not Avon. The name of the river is Avon. The name of the
Okay.
place is Stratford. Stratford on Avon.
Okay.
Shakespeare was born in the village Stratford, which is situated on the river bank of Avon. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So he came back to his village, and even though in the village, he had a few mischievous friends. Those mischievous friends, they persuaded him to steal deer, to poach deer, to steal fruits from the orchard of neighbors. He indulged in all kinds of mischievous activities by coming in contact with these urchins. And while poaching deer, he was caught. He was not only caught, he was arrested and put behind the bars. He went to the prison. Can you imagine? A legendary dramatist, an outstanding dramatist like William Shakespeare, being thrown into the prison on the offense of poaching deer, stealing deer. Then at that time, some university professors, they began to write in English. That was the real, output, literary output. The primary literary output. Who are these university professors? They are called university wits. In literary parlance, they are called university wits. They are, remember, Thomas Kidd, George Peele, Robert Greene, Thomas Nase, Christopher Marlowe, John Lilly. Most of them, they began to write plays. And Age of Elizabeth was the time when drama began to prosper as a literary genre. Drama as a literary genre came into prominence in the age of Elizabeth. So at that time, there was no stage, no film hall, no theatre hall. So-called Globe Theatre was not available in those times. So what did they do? They used to stage the play on the streets. They used to make makeshift stages. And if they want to present the scene of a forest, they would pitch a few branches of the tree, which will symbolize that this is a forest. If they want to present a bedroom scene, they put a cot, draw a curtain that symbolizes a bedroom scene. If they want to present an office, they put a few chairs, few tables, and they symbolically tell it that this is the office. So such street plays were enjoyed by the audience of Britain. You must know one thing. We used to call England as a nation of shopkeepers. Have you heard of it or not? Have you heard of it? Anybody?
No, sir, no.
No. Remember, it is said that England is a nation of shopkeepers, business community. But side by side, you must also know that the people of Britain were lovers of literature. They loved reading. They loved watching plays, for which they went to watch the street plays. In those times, Mercedes-Benz, Audi, all those cars were not there. BMW. So they used to come on horseback. At that time, Shakespeare was released from jail. After being released from jail, he has come to London. He has come to London to seek his fortune, to find an employment. He's a school dropout, I tell you. He doesn't have much qualification. So at that time, he was roaming around. And the gentleman who comes on horse, he calls him, "Ki boy, listen." "Yes, sir." "Will you hold my horse till such time I come back by watching the play?" "Yes, I don't mind. Now I'd like to pay you something. Now whatever you pay, that will be okay with me." Because Shakespeare knew that beggars are not choosers. A beggar cannot choose. He has no option. So Shakespeare used to hold the horse of the ladies and gentlemen who used to come on horseback and visit the street plays in London. Time rolled on. This thing continued. When this thing continued, the director of the play got notice of Shakespeare. Shakespeare, I must tell you, was a very handsome guy. He was a very handsome boy, winsome personality he had, winsome appearance he had. So the director called him. He said, "Boy, would you like to act in the drama?" He said, "Yes, but on one condition." He said, "What's the condition?" And the condition is, you will be acting on female roles, not male role. During those times, as I told you, women were not granted that much of freedom. Women were not in a very respectful position. There was orthodoxy in society. the women in London or England were not allowed to take part in the plays. So the roles of women used to be performed by the men. So he agreed. He said, yes, I would like to act on female roles. Since then, he began to act in the plays, street plays, on female roles. While performing his role as a woman or as a girl, he got totally involved in the stagecraft, characterization, dialogue, plot, and he wanted to explore new areas. New areas, for example, a play used to have four aspects, remember. One is plot, second is character, third is dialogue, fourth is atmosphere. Plot, character, dialogue, atmosphere. So Shakespeare was trying to explore the various aspects, starting from plot to character to dialogue to atmosphere. So he began to find this plot is very vital. Plot is very important in a play. Unless plot is very, enjoyable or interesting, the play cannot be a hit. To make the play a hit, the plot needs to be very strong. In the plot, what would happen? There will be a hero or protagonist. There will be a heroine. There shall be a villain. There shall a few side characters. There shall be an entertainer or joker or clown. And the plot shall move from exposition. It will start. Then it will move in upward direction, which is technically known as rising action or complication. The plot moves towards the climax, the topmost position. Then again it takes a downward turn, which is called the falling action or denouement. Then finally it ends in catastrophe in case of tragedy and conclusion in case of comedy. So there Shakespeare learned the art of writing drama, and he noticed how plot is very important in a play. After the plot is chosen, after the plot is figured out in the mind, one may think of the characters. Which characters shall suit the plot? Take the case of Hamlet. Have you studied Hamlet?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. It's in our syllabus.
Yes, sir.
But why such a thin voice? All of you must have studied.
Sir, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Sir, can this class be arranged any other time?
Time.
Sir,
You want to change the time?
Yes, sir.
No, others are not interested.
Sir,
You please make adjustment with this time.
Sir,
This time is fixed by IGNOU Central Office,
Sure.
and this suits everyone except you perhaps.
Sir, this class will be held daily.
This class will have
Daily रहेगी sir class.
daily matlab excepting Sunday and Saturday.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Except Sunday and Saturday, All other classes, I mean, all other days we are having class from 4 to 6. No, I don't mind in changing the time, but others are not interested. Okay. So you please
Okay, okay,
adjust.
sir.
You please adjust.
Okay, sir, I can manage.
Okay, please, please.
Okay, thank you.
But tell me one thing. In my first class, some 110 students were there. Do you remember?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
On
yes.
24th, 110 students were there. But now today it is 48.
Sir, some are working, sir. That's why they are not able to join, sir.
So some are working.
Yes, sir. I'm also working, sir. I have adjusted my.
Sir,
Oh, I see.
sir,
So it is their part-time class, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
sir,
okay. But how will they do in the exam? They should be serious. Anyway,
sir, I am
uh,
interested in your class.
sorry?
Sir, I am interested to attend your class, but time limit issue, so that I want to change your timing of class.
So the problem is, Pankaj, I don't mind. Others are not interested. So many people are writing, ki, no, sir, timing is okay. So if you can settle among
I-
yourselves for another time,
Sir,
so
I
we may.
am working so that.
No, I can understand your problem, but what to do? I am not in a position to help you out because I have to go by majority.
Sir,
When
as you
majority.
know, without lecture, this cannot be passed.
Exactly. Lecture is very important. I tell you, I must tell you, all of you,
Yes.
whatever you may study from
Yes,
Gankos, e-Gankos, from any other internet material, but teaching learning process,
yes.
classroom is
Technique is the
very,
main. Technique is the main point.
very important. Very, very
Yes.
important, I must tell you.
Yes.
So that is that one has to take care of. So you discuss among yourselves. If
Sir,
you want
please
to change the
accordingly,
time,
I tell
I
you the
make
time.
up. And not only that, the IGNOU office is to be communicated. IGNOU central office has given me this time. This is not my choice. They have given it to me. Okay. So
Sir,
this
this
is,
time
I
is
think, a
fixed
cumbersome
only
and
for
complicated process.
four
So I,
o'clock in evening daily.
sorry,
Sir, this timing is 4 o'clock in evening daily.
Delhi means you have 8 classes.
Saturday, Sunday off.
Saturday, Sunday off.
Yes. Otherwise, 4 o'clock time is fixed.
4 o'clock is fixed.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Okay.
Ji, sir.
So he noticed how character is important. Yeah, I was talking about Hamlet, isn't it? So why I am referring to Hamlet is Hamlet is one of the most significant plays ever written by any dramatist. Shakespeare has written 37 plays, out of which Hamlet is the best and the most important play. Because Hamlet, it ends in tragedy. Yeah, it's a tragedy. You have four tragedies. Four important tragedies. There are so many tragedies, out of which you have four important tragedies and four important comedies. Out of the four important tragedies, you find tragedies like Hamlet, Othello, Macbeth, King Lear. And out of the four important comedies, you have Merchant of Venice, As You Like It, Much Ado About Nothing, and Twelfth Night. Okay. So these are the four important comedies, and those are the four important tragedies. And Hamlet is one of the most important and popular tragedies because Hamlet deals with the psychological condition of the characters. In this connection, I would like to draw your attention to the statement of Freud, Sigmund Freud. Have you heard of Sigmund Freud?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
The
Yes,
psychoanalyst.
sir. Yes.
Okay.
Sir,
Yes.
Yes, sir.
sir, give me your contact number.
Okay. Later on. Later on.
Yes, sir.
Why should you? Why should you want my contact number?
Pankaj.
Okay, okay, I'll give you. Because if I give you contact number, you will make my life miserable by trying to contact me all the while, isn't it? I may give you. Okay, later on.
Yes,
Okay.
sir. Tell me, please.
So Freud said human mind has you know three conditions, three states. Human mind has three states. What are they? They are id, id, id. First is id, id, id. Second is ego, ego. Third is superego. Good, good, Niharika. Very good. Id, ego, superego. Wonderful. So what is id?
It is the part of your mind that mostly concerned about what the person wants, like a child. A child only wants what it wants, and the part of ego is concerned about the uh, subconscious mind, which is concerned about you know others,
Self.
let's say. And superego is the part that mostly controls the feeling of guilt and responsibilities. I mean, that's all I know in my little understanding.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So super ego is the observation, self-observation, and what is the commonly known as consciousness.
It is the moral compass. Superego is the moral compass. I'll tell you. You are right. Both of you are right. Sukanya and Niharika. Id is based on instinct. As Niharika said, ki like a child. I want to
Super
do it
ego,
means I must do it. Are you getting my
super,
point?
super ego is when someone
Superego
thinks
is
that
moral, the element of morality. It focuses on moral aspect. You know you
when
can't do it.
someone thinks, when
It is not
someone thinks,
desirable from you.
when
It
someone
says,
thinks
I will do it
more is
now.
bigger than you.
Ego tries to make a debate.
Yes.
Ego wants to see the reality, whether it is proper to do at this stage or not.
Super ego don't want to see reality.
Yeah,
Super,
superego observes the reality, scrutinizes the reality, then gives the decision, ki no, no, you should not do it right now.
yes.
So superego is the moral authority. Ego is the realistic portrayal, whether it is really possible or not. Should you do it at this moment or should you wait for some time?
Super
But
ego is non-realistic.
it doesn't obey anything. Okay, so that's why human mind is controlled by these three stages. That's what Sigmund Freud has talked about. And in Hamlet, what happened? Hamlet is the prince of Denmark. He was a very sagacious, judicious, intellectual,
Pioneers.
learned person. He was a very erudite person. And by the time the tragedy occurred, he was not present. Yeah, Hamlet is a British drama. Uh, so when the tragedy occurred, Hamlet was not present in Denmark. He was in Wittenberg University, Germany. He was studying in Wittenberg University in Germany. A sudden message reaches him. Hey, Hamlet, your father, King Hamlet, is no more. He is stung by a venomous serpent while having the siesta in the garden after lunch. After lunch, the kind of rest you take is called siesta. Hamlet was stupefied. He was stunned. He was shocked. and he immediately dashed off to Denmark, contacted his best friend Horatio, and came back. After coming to, Denmark, he was surprised, taken by surprise, to notice that the two functions are being conducted simultaneously. Rasveer, Rasveer, please mute your microphone. So what happened? Uh, Hamlet arrived in Denmark, and he found two things are going on. On the one side, the funeral of his father is being conducted. On the other side, the nuptial of his uncle is being conducted. Which uncle? What nuptial? Soon after the death of his father, his uncle Claudius has taken over the powers of the throne, taken over the kingship, ascended the throne of Denmark. So his coronation ceremony, along with his nuptial ceremony, he has not only occupied the throne, he has also married the widow of his brother, Gertrude. It means Hamlet's mother Gertrude, Queen Gertrude, has married to Claudius, the uncle of Hamlet. Look, if you are from Hindi medium, you have to adjust with, the class. I cannot teach in Hindi. I'm not supposed to. I can teach, but I'm not supposed to. Okay. So you have to make adjustment. And this is very simple English I have been talking. It won't be very difficult for you. If you find any difficulty, you can ask me, Kishar, what is the meaning of this and that? Then what happens? He was surprised. Then he was given to understand, since King Hamlet died all of a sudden, unnoticed, unexpected, there was no way. There was no way other than to sit on the throne, Claudius explained. And at the same time, I had to give justice to, justice to the queen, Gertrude. So I married her. At that time, Hamlet began to suspect what is the, fun behind it. He couldn't take it kindly. He couldn't trust it properly. See why this is being done. So, Hamlet reached Denmark, spoke to his friend Horatio, and then, suddenly the information came by Marcellus and Bernardo, the security staff, at the dead of the night, a spirit is visible. A spirit who resembles, yes, the spirit who resembles the king. He is almost dressed with royal attire, and perhaps he wants to speak something. Then at that time, Hamlet was very much worried, and he decided that I must meet the ghost. To make the long thing short, He went to meet the ghost despite the dissuasion from his friends. People didn't want that Hamlet should meet the ghost. It may be the evil ghost. Hamlet met the ghost. Finally, the ghost called Hamlet and he said, I'll tell you something which is very startling, which is very sensational, which you may not have thought in the wildest of your dream. Whatever is being bandied about, I have been major. I have been stung by a venomous serpent. That is wrong. The information that is given to you is totally wrong. But the fact is that I have been killed, I have been murdered by none other than your uncle, Claudius. While I was taking rest in my garden, after my lunch, he poured some poisonous potion into my ears, and that poisonous potion caused rashes, irritations on my skin, and it spread like leprosy disease, bringing about my death. Never trust what is being dished out to you as the information regarding my death. So, Hamlet thought Claudius is not to be trusted. He is accused of 3 crimes. One is murder, second is incest, third is usurpation. Murder is murdering the brother. Incest is marrying the sister-in-law. And usurpation is forcibly occupying the throne of the brother. So Claudius has committed triple crimes: incest, murder, usurpation. Then Hamlet decided, yes, King Hamlet said, if you are my worthy son, you must take revenge against the murderer of your father. And he said, but don't ill-treat your mother. Never take revenge against your mother. Look at the love of King Hamlet for his wife Gertrude. He said, whatever has happened, it has happened because of Claudius, not of Gertrude. Then Hamlet pretended madness and tried to distance herself from Ophelia and explore the possible avenues to take revenge against Claudius. He made inordinate delay in taking revenge, for which 7 lives were lost. 7 lives could have been saved had he taken early resolution. Hamlet is a character. Hamlet is the protagonist. Hamlet is the name of the prince of Denmark. Okay. So at that time, finally, his death occurred, or he died, and the tragedy came to an end. So, ladies and gentlemen, what I am going to talk about is literature not only makes the socio-political economic depiction of reality, it also depicts the mental condition of a person, the response of a person to a particular situation. Why I describe to you the mental condition of Prince Hamlet? Just to tell you what led Prince Hamlet to indulge in such a condition, such a revengeful murder. Why? What happened? What is the reason? Why it occurred? So you have to see the previous condition. What incident has led to his mental condition, his rebellious mood, his feigned madness, his saying, time is out of joint, oh cost spite that ever I was born to set it right. To be or not to be, that is the question. Frailty, thy name is human. Why did he say this? Those things are said by him because that was the situation. And it is the duty of the writer or the playwright or the dramatist to concentrate his attention on the mental development or the mental reaction of a person, the response of a person to a particular situation. If a person has particularly responded to a situation, it can be outlined in a play. And the character analysis can be proper. So, Chaucer, coming back to our original topic, this was by way of explaining to you how literature focuses on character analysis, how literature focuses on plot, how literature focuses on dialogue. Dialogue, the examples I gave you. Time to be or not to be, that is the question. Why did he say this? When his father's ghost asked him to take revenge on Claudius, the murderer of his father, at that time Hamlet was on the horns of dilemma. He was not in a position to jump into action because Hamlet is not impulsive like that of Othello. Othello is impulsive. The moment Othello came to hear from Iago that his wife Desdemona is having illicit affair with Cassio, he immediately went and strangulated her to death. But here, Hamlet did not take immediate action. Hamlet made delay, but it was so inordinate, which caused several deaths. 7 deaths before his own death. Had he taken a little quicker or prompter steps, 7 lives could have been saved. But no, he did not take. Because he is a thinking character, intellectual character. He thought, the people of Denmark love me like God, respect me like God. If I immediately attack Uncle Claudius, they will feel that I am power hungry. They will feel that I am power hungry. So for that reason, he did not take quick action. He waited for the opportune time to come. Even at one point of time, Claudius was praying. That was the greatest opportunity for Hamlet to kill him. But he didn't do that. I have told you he is a reflective character, intellectual character, learned character, erudite character, judicious character, sagacious character, philosophical character. He immediately thought, should I kill him? Should I not kill him? If I kill him now, at his prayer, his soul will directly go to heaven. And should I pave the way for the murderer of my father to reach heaven? No, I won't kill him now. Because there is some principle in royalty. If you want to fight or don't attack a person who is without instrument, without sword or without rifle. If somebody is at prayer, praying to God, don't cause him any harm. So there are certain principles, and Hamlet wanted to abide by those principles, for which he did not kill. So Chaucer wanted to replicate and reflect the social, political, cultural, economic condition of 14th century England. In the economic front, England was totally devastated. In the cultural front, there was classification in society. There were two categories of people. The nobles or the vassals and the serfs, the bourgeois and the proletariats, the rich and the poor, the haves and the have-nots. They are not having a very cordial relationship. The labor class of people or the serfs were being exploited time and again, regularly, frequently by the upper class. The upper class people enjoyed all the facilities, all the advantages from the king. The king used to be partial. The king used to show greatest favor to the nobles and ignores the labor class people for which the peasant revolution took place. Economy was shattered due to 100 years war. Politically, it was not very conducive because Edward III was not very subject loving a king. He did not pay much of the attention to the welfare of the subjects. Even after him, Richard II came. Richard II also was very indifferent to the welfare of the subjects. He never took any, significant measures to bring about the welfare of the subjects. Next came the Black Death. The bubonic plague occurred. Why did it occur? It occurred due to the negligence of the health sector. Medical science was not paid proper attention, for which the bubonic plague could not be controlled, which brought about huge number of deaths. People began to die. There was no, information or no anticipation. People died in a very, in a very wretched way. Even for their burial, there was no space. They died like insects, flies. No medical treatment could be given, nor medical science could check the prevalence of the pandemic. Then came the peasant revolution. The peasants' agitation brought the administration to a standstill. The administration could not resolve their problems. They had very genuine problems because they are the people who used to grow the food. But in the food sector, they did not get any inspiration, any patronage. The king did not show them any favor. Neither the king gave them any kind of financial assistance, nor did the king provide them hybrid seeds, good fertilizer, and the latest agricultural implements, for which they had to suffer loss. And in the sector of market also, they did not get a good market to sell out their produce. As a result, things came to a standstill, and the peasants, finding no other way, they had to give the ultimatum and launch the agitation to bring the administration to its knees. So these three major factors. First is 100 years of war. Second is Black Death. Third is peasants' agitation, which impacted the socio-political and cultural sector of England in the 14th century in a remarkable manner. That moves Chaucer to write his poetic works. Maybe Canterbury Tales, maybe House of Fame, maybe Legend of Good Women, maybe Troilus and Cressida, maybe the Book of the Duchess. All these poetic works focused on the socio political, cultural, economic scenario of contemporary England in the 14th century. So, this is how Chaucer became popular. And as I told you, Chaucer has been taught since 14th century till 21st century, and I believe it will be taught till eternity. We'll stop it here. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir, for such an informative lecture. Thank you, sir.
Very much, yeah.
क्लास एंड होगी क्या आगे आगे क्लास एंड हो गई है प्रोफेसर